In this video, I'm going to share 6 rules for dominating social media in 2025. Social media has changed in some profound ways, and I don't think that anybody is actually catching up. So these are kind of 6, they're not even just rules, they're kind of like philosophy or mindset shifts. This is how I've changed the way that I look at content in my business and with my clients, and I want to share this with you. I think that if you make these same shifts for yourself, it's going to set you up for massive success using content in 2025. So the first mindset shift or rule or philosophy is message over medium. So most people usually get stuck on the medium itself. You know, posting stories, posting reels. The other day, a client was telling me about how he wants to go all in on YouTube lives. So that is just the medium, the format in which we convey information to the viewer. And there are times where that matters. You know, over the past couple of years, Reels have blown up because Meta and YouTube are trying to compete with TikTok on short form content because TikTok moved over to the interest graph. So if you were posting Reels, your view counts went through the roof. So that's an example of being at the right place at the right time. It was a smart idea to focus on the medium. But now that everybody posts Reels, and now that those view counts are coming down, once again, we're back to the place where what really matters is the message itself. The way that we convey that information is so much less important than what the information is itself. You have to focus on saying something that's worth listening to in the first place. So if you can provide value, establish your expertise, build rapport, connect with your viewer on a visceral level and instill belief in them, inspire action, that is what's going to create the best content. And then once you dial in that messaging, you want to share it across every medium. So once you have that nugget of gold, that golden message, you don't want to just post it as a reel. You want to post it as a reel and a story and a carousel and a tweet and a quote image and a YouTube video. So that's the first thing, message over medium. The next rule for your content is systems over strategy. So what I mean by this is so many people get stuck on the strategy. You know, if I just map out the perfect content calendar, if I just script the perfect hooks, if I just map everything out in the perfect way, then content will be easy. But the problem most people run into is they spend so much time hyper engineering what they're going to do that they never actually do it. What you need to do instead is focus on the systems. So it could be hiring the right people. It could be building the right SOPs so that tasks get done in the right order. And then when you have the system in place, execution becomes simple. With our clients, we build what I call the content conveyor belt. So you do the one thing that only you can do, which is look into the camera and talk to your prospect, talk to your viewer, and then everything behind the camera, all the behind the camera tasks, they automatically get done for you. Of course, strategy is important, but you can't over-strategize your way to great content if you never actually get started. And building the right systems and hiring the right people is the fastest way to make taking action and getting results as easy as possible. So that's the second thing. Systems over strategy. A corollary to this is consistency over coaching. So it really annoys me how many gurus that I see that are teaching how to make content, what you need to make content about, who you need to make content for. But once again, it's the same problem. You spend all of this money to have somebody tell you what to do, and then you have to actually do it yourself. And most people don't actually take that step. It's kind of like if you were to hire an accountant who gave you a course about how to do your taxes. You don't need somebody to tell you how to do your taxes. You need somebody to do them for you so that you can focus on your actual core competency, which is growing your business. And content is the same way. You don't need somebody to tell you how to make content or what to make content about. You need to hire somebody to just help you make your content so that once again, you focus on making sales, delivering an incredible service to your clients, and then all the technical stuff gets done. You don't need to be editing your videos. You don't need to be managing a team. You need to have them do all of the work for you, and then you focus on your zone of genius. And once you have those things in place, being consistent, posting every single day or multiple times a day suddenly becomes the easiest part of your business because you're not the bottleneck. You're not the one that's doing it. So don't hire somebody to tell you what to do. Hire people to do it for you. And then consistency over coaching. The fourth rule for creating your content is flow over frameworks. So what I mean by framework is a lot of people want to follow an outline. They want to write a script. They want somebody to tell them how to write their hooks in the perfect way. They want to know how to structure their CTAs for max impact. And the reason why is because creating content is awkward. So they think that by following an outline and kind of taking the uncertainty out of it, it'll bring the stress down. It makes it simple. Also, most people do like 50 takes just to make a 1-minute video. So they think that if I have a framework to follow, then I'll be able to do it faster. I won't make as many mistakes. Also, there's a lot of uncertainty around content. I want to make content that drives results for my business. We all know what it feels like to just post content and you feel like you're screaming into the void. You want to know that everything that you're doing has the best possible chance for actually being successful. So you want somebody to tell you, hey, just hit these points, follow this outline, and it's going to generate those results. But in my opinion, following frameworks like that almost always leads to more rigid content. It's more difficult because you're trying to think in your head, okay, I have to hit the right points. I don't want to mess up. Also, in most cases, and we'll get into this a little bit later, there's not one framework that can guarantee success. Maybe it'll set you up for success. Maybe it'll kind of point you in the right direction, but nobody can say, just hit these points and we guarantee that you're going to get all these views and all these buyers are going to show up. Nobody knows that. So what I like to do is focus on flow. So what that means is we do online filming sessions and we just ask our clients questions. We essentially interview them and we pull the gold out of them. We just want to make it very natural and conversational for them to show up in front of the camera and start talking about what they're knowledgeable about, what they're passionate about. And usually what happens is they'll say something and we'll go, hey, you mentioned something, you might not even know this, but what you said was really interesting. Tell me more about that. It's kind of like we find this thread and we start pulling on that thread until it leads us to the gold. And when we do that, we always stumble across subjects and topics that are even more interesting and engaging for the audience than anything we could have scripted on our own. This is where having a really good editor comes in. And really, I use the term chopper. A chopper is somebody you can give the raw video to, and they chop it up into the individual clips. They can listen for what the hook is. They put that at the beginning. This part's some fluff. We'll cut that out, maybe rearrange something, and turn it into a punchy and engaging video that grabs the viewer's attention, sucks them in, and never gives them the opportunity to swipe away. So once you have a good chopper in place, you just get into flow. You just share your knowledge in front of the camera, and then they can take that and turn it into content for you. So don't worry about trying to craft the perfect hook. The hook is already in there somewhere. The editor can go in and find it for you. Now, the fifth rule is nurture over numbers. When I say numbers, I kind of mean views, or it could be any other metric too. It could be likes or saves or comments or whatever it is. A lot of people think that they want to get as many views as possible because subconsciously we think, well, more views is going to lead to more business, right? But that is an assumption that is completely unfounded. Everybody believes that, and it is not true whatsoever. It doesn't even pass the sniff test. We've all heard about people who have massive followings who make no money online. But more and more, we're starting to see the opposite. I see people every day that have tiny followings that do millions of dollars. The reason why is because going viral essentially is taking one piece of content and showing it to as many people as possible. But I want to go deep. I want to find one prospect and show them as many pieces of content as possible. I want that prospect to spend hours with me, watching my face, hearing my voice, getting indoctrinated into my way of looking at the world and social media. And at a certain point, they're going to think, man, I have no choice but to do business with Garen. And that's what I help my clients do as well. Obviously, it'd be great to do both. Go wide to get as many people's attention as possible, and then go deep with whoever kind of opts in to that content. But the good news is that with running ads, we don't need to post content and hope that everybody sees it. We can just tell the algorithms, go find me as many people as possible that resonate with this, and then put my content in front of them. And then by posting content every day, and especially by pushing people over to long form content where we can heat people up faster, we can do exactly that. We can go deep with them, have them spend hours binging our content and seeing us as an expert. And that's where nurturing comes in. I don't want a ton of people to see one piece from me. I want to find a core group of people who have expressed interest in my service and then get them to binge tons of my content. So I nurture them until they are a piping hot prospect and they can't wait to pull out that credit card and sign up. So don't forget that, nurture over numbers. And the last rule, number 6, is analytics over assumptions. So a lot of people assume who they're talking to. They assume what that person wants to hear. They assume what resonates. It's actually funny how many times I have a client who will say, oh, everybody was asking this one question, or, oh, my audience is all this one kind of person, or they all want to hear this one message. And then I'll go back and look at a post that they were referencing, and there was like 3 comments. So somehow 3 people became the proxy for their entire business, for all of their clients. So I don't want to do that. I don't want to make any assumptions about what the message is or who we're talking to. I want the numbers to tell us that definitively. This probably comes from the early part of my career where I worked in direct response copywriting, where the only answer to any question was only what converts the best. So somebody would say, should we write this headline or that headline? Split test it. Let the numbers tell us what is best. And that's my approach to creating content too. The platforms provide us a ton of information and almost nobody takes advantage of it. They post their content and then they go on with their day and they never go back and look at the numbers. So with our clients, we compile all of their numbers in a spreadsheet, and we can go back and look what content performed the best and what posts brought in the most new followers and which ones did the best for our existing audience. And then we can reverse engineer those things. We can ask ourselves, why did that perform so well? And then whatever the answer is, we can dig down deeper into those things, or we can say those same things in new and fresh ways. So with every month, with each passing filming session, we just continually refine our messaging down until we're saying the right thing to the right person at the right time. And we don't guess about that. We let the numbers tell us. I heard somebody say recently, why guess when you can test? And that's what we do. We create content, we test, whatever works, we double down on it, whatever doesn't, we cut it. So analytics over assumptions. So that's it. Those are the 6 rules that I'm using for my own content and for the content for all of our clients. I would love to hear which one of these jumped out at you, if any of these challenged the way that you think about your own social media. And also if you have anything to add. If there was a number 7 that I missed, try to make it an alliteration. I kind of like the alliteration of these, but feel free to share one below if there's anything that you are thinking about right now that I missed. And if your philosophy with content overlaps with mine, if you look at messaging and speaking to your audience in a similar way that I do, and if you would like help creating more content, more high quality content, I'd love to talk more about how we could be helpful for you. I'll leave a link below to my Instagram page where you can DM me, and I'd be more than happy to share more about what we do and how we might be of service to you. Hey there, it's Garen from the future. Between the time I filmed that video and right now, I've created a series called 30 YouTube Ideas in 30 Days. If you're a coach and you don't know what to make YouTube content about, there's a link down below. Drop your email in there. I will send you one awesome idea every day for 30 days. At the end of that, you will never have a problem ever again coming up with great YouTube content ideas. The goal, though, is not just to create more good content. The goal is to create the right content that grows our businesses. So I've also created a tool called the 24/7 YouTube Salesperson. It's all of my best frameworks and strategies along with GPTs to help you actually implement them and turn your YouTube account into a machine that creates sales every single day for you. So there's a link to that down below as well. Check that out. And if you enjoyed this YouTube video, the YouTube algorithm thinks you're going to love this one.